Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Stephen Hansen. I'm the Director of Graduate Studies here for the Master's Program in Bioethics and Medical Humanities at Tulane. And I wanted to take a moment to tell you all a little bit about the program. Why not? Let's go ahead and start. Let's go ahead and do it in this fashion, and I'll share my screen with you. We'll get started from here and go this way. Welcome. I will introduce some of the other members of our program to you in a few minutes, but I wanted to welcome folks to our program to hear a little bit more about our program. If at any time you also want to find out more, here's our website. You can apply from this site. You can find out more information about us. You can find out more information about the program. There's a lot going on in Tulane School of Medicine and Bioethics. The master's program is right in the middle of a lot of it. We have the program in Medical Ethics and Human Values, established by a grant from James A. Knight, right here in the Department of Family and Community Medicine, along with us. And there's a lot of things going on at the School of Medicine, which is where we are. We're on the downtown campus of Tulane. You see the School of Medicine there. We're in this, here, let me go ahead and get my little highlighter. We're in this building here with the stylized M on the side of it. It used to be the Murphy Oil building. Now it's not, but it still has the M. So that's us. With School of Medicine is here. You also see the School of Public Health and the trolley that will take you down to the French Quarter if you so desire. Why might you be interested in this program? Look, it's Tulane University, right? So Tulane is nationally recognized, nationally ranked, both as a university and a medical school. And as was noted by Emma, if you're looking for a master's program in the Gulf Coast area, Tulane's pretty much the one to go to, not just because of the quality of Tulane, but also because there's not a whole lot of others around. We have an excellent program with a lot of flexibility as well. So I would want you to think not just Tulane is your only option, but it's an excellent option. And in fact, there's lots of different ways you can do this. We have a straightforward 2-year master's program. It's the way we designed it to be done. There are some people who are taking this in an aggressively rushed fashion. You can take it in 15 months, going from one summer semester, then a fall, a spring, and then the final summer semester. And there's some people even trying to cram it into a little bit tighter than that. It's not really designed for that, but they're making it work. So even that's a possibility for some folks. But generally, we expect it to be a 2-year program. If you are taking the dual degree program, as you're already admitted into the School of Medicine, this is still a 2-year MS program, and it does not extend your time to your MD at all. You still finish your MD degree in 4 years. You just will also have an MD MS at that point. Basically, we're able to do that because Tulane School of Medicine has designed their course structures to allow time for people to take master's programs during the first 2 years of medical school, so that they give us time on Wednesdays and Fridays so that we have course time. And so it's really an excellent way of making it work so that you stay with your same cohort first through 4th year of medical school, and you don't add even a year of time. And we also have a flexible option for faculty interested in mid-career professional faculty or even early career professional faculty interested in taking sort of control of where do you want to go with your career. And if you're more interested in doing things in the ethics field or doing things involved in medical humanities, we have a part-time option that works extremely well, and we're very flexible how that works. We've got people taking it 2 courses a semester, people taking it 1 course a semester. Whatever works for you, we can generally work with you. And beginning in either summer or fall of 2022, we have certificate options. You can get a certificate in clinical ethics, research ethics, or medical humanities. Talk more about those in a minute. But I'm excited about them. I wanted to bring them up twice, so this is my first time. The way it works here, this is not a program where we expect you to come in, sit in a class, take a test, and go home. This is meant to be a community of learning where students and faculty are learning together. I mean, we've got faculty in narrative studies, historians, clinicians, philosophers. We've got people doing all kinds of really interesting work in our faculty. And that's before we get to the interesting people in in our student population as well. We've got people who've studied English, people who studied philosophy, people who've studied pre-med. We've got people who are, as we say, mid-career professionals. We have residents taking our coursework, as well as some of our dual degree medical students. And we've got people who are working at Pfizer. We've got other people who are coming straight out of undergrad in various different disciplines. And the whole goal of this is that we all learn from each other. Now, if I come back from a class and I've spent the entire time talking, I've failed because I have not managed to learn something from the students in this class. And they will learn from each other as well as from me. And that's the whole point of it. We also designed our program to this, and we designed our program before COVID to function in a way that we're all now very comfortable with, functioning on Zoom or live video conferencing. But even after we're able to no longer do everything by Zoom, we're still going to be making our courses available either in person or by video conference, because we want people to be able to take our courses even if they're not able to be in the New Orleans area. So, and this is, you're not watching videos of, recorded videos of somebody giving a lecture. No, you're in the class participating just like everybody who's sitting in a desk in the classroom. We do have limited scholarships available for highly qualified students through the Sally Knight fellowships or scholarships rather. And we're very happy to be able to offer those. Let me give you a little bit of the details. Very briefly, any student in the program is going to take these 4 courses: Foundations of Bioethics, Current Controversies in Bioethics, and Fundamentals of Medical Humanities. They'll also take the capstone course, which is, as it says, the title suggests, it's the final project where you and your colleagues in the same cohort will produce something that's sort of, in one fashion or another, tangible, whether it's a solution to a particular problem in medical ethics that you've seen through your time in the program, or whether it's a literary work or a piece of art related to medicine. That's an important sort of culmination of what you've learned so far in the program. That's what the capstone course is meant to produce. And we have a lot of exciting ideas that people are looking at as to what they're going to do for capstones. So everybody takes these courses, but we do have 2 tracks. If you're interested in bioethics, you would focus more on the ethical theory, clinical and research ethics aspect of it. If you're interested more in the medical humanities, you'd focus on, well, the medical humanities, history of medicine, narrative in medicine, and literature and film, and how they intersect with medicine. Now, you can take either, regardless of what track you're in, you can take courses from the other track as electives in your track, but you would focus either on bioethics or medical humanities. We'll get more to what the electives are in a moment, but why do we have the 2 tracks? Well, because there's enough material here that what you want to focus on means we need to give you the opportunity to focus on one of these 2 tracks. If you're looking at bioethics, you can be doing teaching, research, and service, maybe ethics committees or institutional review boards. You can be teaching ethics in a healthcare setting or doing research in healthcare ethics. Whereas medical humanities will work more towards focusing your abilities to do teaching or research on narrative, history of medicine, reflective writing, or fine arts as they apply to medicine and healthcare. Now, we also have space in the curriculum for lots of different electives. And here are some of the ones that we've offered and may offer. Some of these are coming up. Some of these are things we've offered before. And some of these will be things that we'll offer again. So we want people to talk about feminist theory and practice. We want people to be talking about specifics in ethics like neuroethics. Conspiracy theories in medicine is a new elective that's going to be offered in the next semester. inspired by, I think fairly, obviously inspired by the wild outgrowth of conspiracy theories in medicine that we've seen from COVID, which has really just made the existence of the conspiracy theories a lot more obvious to us all. And the doctor as author is an interesting course which covers, well, pretty much exactly what it is, right? How do doctors function as authors, and what is it that they've created? And we'll have more electives available, especially with our collaboration with the School of Public Health, where you can take courses as your elective courses in the School of Public Health with easy interaction between us. And specifically, there are some courses in social determinants of health, health equity, health inequity, and social justice offered through the School of Public Health. And there will be more to come as we are growing. More about those certificates now. These are 12-hour, remember the full master's program is a 33 credit hour program. The certificates are 12-hour certificates. And you can focus either on clinical ethics or research ethics or medical humanities. In that, you would get a good grounding in the fundamentals of either clinical ethics, research ethics, or medical humanities that would enable you to function with training in that. So for people who are, say, mid-career, they might be interested in education, but it's a little bit difficult to commit to a 2-year master's program. The certificates are an excellent opportunity and an excellent option for them. Furthermore, these certificates stack. That is, if you decided after finishing a certificate in medical humanities that you wanted to do more, you could get a certificate in clinical ethics or in research ethics. And if you completed that and decided you wanted to go all the way to complete the master's program, it would just be 3 more courses. So you could graduate with both a certificate in humanities and a certificate in clinical or research ethics, and then finally the master's program in roughly the same amount of time and the same cost. If you're just wanting to go straight through the standard master's program, it's a pretty straightforward thing. There are 2 required courses each semester, followed with 1 additional elective. That's how you do it on the standard fall, spring semester program. A number of our students who've been taking the straight master's program have also taken courses in the summer, which has accelerated the process somewhat. And if you're taking the dual degree, this is a little bit more structured because it has to be in order to work around the requirements of the School of Medicine. So you would start in the summer prior to your first year, taking several electives in the Foundations of Bioethics. In your first semester of medical school, you want to be focusing mostly on medical school, so you only have 1 course during that semester. And then 2 courses in the next couple of semesters of medical school, including the summer in between. Then finally, in your final semester, you finish up with a capstone project. And as I promised, you're done in 2 years without adding any time to your 4-year graduation plans at School of Medicine. The purpose of this master's degree is to give you an understanding and an education and a set of skills in working in medical ethics and medical humanities. This is relevant in various aspects of talking about professionalism in medicine and related disciplines, but it also enables you to do teaching, service, and scholarship. We do not look at the master's program so much as a final degree, but rather as a tool that allows you to move forward in any area you want to work in. If you want to work in areas of medicine, law, social work, public health, humanities, or a variety of others, we hope that this master's program gives you the tools to do what you want to do, but do it better. For example, here's what you would do with with a dual degree, MD/MS. You're certainly going to be capable of functioning as an excellent clinician. Hopefully, the understanding of medical humanities and medical ethics would make you a better clinician and would make the clinicians around you better by osmosis. But you also would be able and well-trained to teach, either in the hospitals that you might work in or in your medical schools that you might work with. You could do academic research in bioethics and medical humanities, as well as the kind of research you might do in medicine. And of course, you can work in an ethics committee or an IRB or in policy development. The idea is you guide your career the way you want it to be. You set the section of your job description that says other duties as assigned. Well, this is how you control your other duties as assigned and make that part of your career your own. I asked a little bit before why Tulane, but I wanted to say a little bit more about this. Tulane is, well, it's Tulane. This is a top-tier faculty. We are competitive with any faculty in any master's program anywhere. I mean, I am so fortunate I get to be a part of this group and I get to learn with this group of faculty and students. And the students at Tulane are going to be, well, they're going to be students at Tulane. These are people who are aiming to be leaders in thought and in direction of their careers, and you will be too. And what is it that you're going to be doing as a leader in ethics or humanities, or indeed in all of the things that ethics and humanities work along with, which is pretty much everything in medicine? We want you to be questioning pretty much anything that can be questioned and examining everything. And one of the goals of philosophy is to question the underlying assumptions of the times. And that's what we try to do. Now, what are the things that we assume to be true without asking? Do these things stand up to analysis? That's what we want to be asking, and we want you to be asking yourselves on a regular basis. I know that the idea of questioning everything, especially these days, has kind of a nihilistic tinge to it, but that's not what we're talking about. That's not what I think. I think that we know things better by questioning. Because when you question things, you can answer the questions and you can get the right answer and you can know why it's right. We're not asking you to question things and leave yourself with nothing. Oh, no. Quite the opposite. We want you to be able to get to truth. And you get to truth by questioning. That's what we're aiming for, and that's what we want you to be able to do as well. And we know, because this is New Orleans, many of the things that we need to be questioning right now. And we've seen this is, right. So this is the water line in the building. The School of Public Health is in. This is where the water came up to in Katrina. We've seen challenges, and specifically challenges of healthcare and health inequity in Katrina and elsewhere. We know that the problems in a calamity and even in non-calamities are not evenly distributed. Right? We saw that in Katrina, and we see it now in COVID, both in treatment and vaccine distributions, but also the distribution and the unequal distribution of disease and disease burden. I mean, now more than ever, we need to be talking about health and healthcare inequity. And New Orleans has seen this and has fought against inequity, not always well and not always successfully, but New Orleans is at the forefront of the challenges we have to face in healthcare ethics today, and not just in things like COVID, but also how is health and healthcare going to have to address the problems of climate change? How is health and healthcare going to have to address the problems of an unequal society? This is maybe this is just me talking here, but I don't think it is. I think this is all of us here in this program. This is what we want. We don't want to teach students and go home and have supper. I do want to go home and have supper, don't get me wrong, but we want this program and our faculty and our students to be at the center of making people's and patients' lives better by taking on and challenging the problems of healthcare. I want us to be at the center of change in how American healthcare takes care of its patients. Why New Orleans? Because that's where we see the problems. Of course, we also see in New Orleans quite a lot of good things. New Orleans is a beautiful city, wonderful food, just fantastic food, gorgeous atmosphere. And when we, can finally get out and enjoy crowds again, it's filled with music, festivals. It's a joyous place. And it's a wonderful place to be. Well, I mean, that's the basics of what I wanted to talk about. And I definitely want to be able to answer questions and also to introduce some of our students and some of our faculty to you. So let me just repeat, here it's easy to remember, tulane.edu/bioethics. That's how you find out about us. If you want to contact me, shanson4@tulane.edu. And Sophie Offengenden is our program coordinator, and Dr. Offengenden is easily Offengenden@tulane.edu. That's us. So let me go ahead and end this and stop this, and we can get back to sort of talking here in general. Let me introduce a few folks to you and let them say a little bit about themselves and so we'll move forward there. I'll do this in the order that I see folks on my screen. And right next to me on my screen is Dr. David Dukas. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. My name is David Dukas, and I am the director of the program in medical ethics and human values here at Tulane University. I also direct the ethics enterprise over at the VA hospital, which is located a stone's throw on the other side of I-10. And I teach the clinical ethics course within the master's program. And I have been doing clinical ethics since 1986.
Ben, would you step up to the mic?
Yeah, gladly. Hey, everybody. My name is Ben Saxton. I'm a teacher in the program. My background is a PhD in American literature. I did a postdoc at the McGovern Medical School in Houston before coming to New Orleans. And I've had the opportunity to teach a number of classes in the program, medical humanities, the doctor as author, and medicine and identity. So that's a little bit about me.
Kathy, you're next up.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lazarus. I'm actually an MD. I'm a general internal medicine physician. I've been a faculty member at Tulane for a very long time. I'm also a faculty member at LSU New Orleans School of Medicine. I've been in medical education and medical school administration my entire career. And I teach in the medical humanities program. I have the pleasure of co-teaching with Dr. Holliday and Dr. Saxton and have co-developed several of the electives that we've talked about, the doctor as author, medicine as identity, and Dr. Holliday and I, the feminist theory and practice in medicine. Thank you. Really looking forward to getting to know some of the other people I don't know on this call.
Nate?
Hey everyone, I'm Nate Stout. I have a PhD in philosophy, so that's my primary background. Faculty member in the program, and I am also a clinical ethicist at the New Orleans VA hospital that Dr. Dukas mentioned. So I teach primarily in the ethics track. I've taught a number of courses, foundations in bioethics, philosophy of medicine, currently teaching a course in research ethics, and next semester I'll be teaching our required course in ethical theory, and then also the new elective in conspiracy theories in medicine, which is a new research area for me, and a course I'm excited about. So yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
Yeah, thank you. Valerie?
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this information session and thanks for coming. I'm Valerie Holliday. I'm an instructor in the program, and as Dr. Saxton and Lazarus have said, I've co-taught with them. I think I did the end of life in film and literature this past summer. And in fact, one of the students from that course is with us today. So hopefully you'll share a little bit with us when it's your turn, Clay. Thanks. I also teach, teach nursing students at Baton Rouge Community College in, not surprisingly, Baton Rouge. And so I've been doing that for about the past 10 years. And so that's part of my experience is looking at the gendered roles of medical education. That's for me.
Fantastic, thank you. Sophie? Nope, you didn't unmute. There it goes.
Sorry about that. So hi everyone, my name is Sufit. I am the coordinator in the program, so I will be happy to help you with questions regarding registration for courses or any other issue. I'm also instructor in the program, so my background is in philosophy and with focus on neuroethics and neurophilosophy. This semester I'm teaching neuroethics. So thank you for joining.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you. And Karen Westbecker, did you want to introduce yourself, please?
Got on mute. Okay. Yeah, so I don't teach any major courses. I have been facilitating the medical school ethics sessions for many, many years. And I do have ideas for creating, well, Dr. Dukas suggested it, but I was thinking about creating a course with genetics and ethics because I'm also a geneticist.
Thank you. And we have a couple of our students on the call too. I guess, Clay, you're the first on my screen. Do you want to just say hi real quick? Or actually, I'd ask you to not only say hi, but talk a little bit about, why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about your experience.
Awesome. Thank y'all for all being here today. First, I think what I'll say is that all the people that are participating in this call right now, like you have access to some of my favorite mentors, some of my favorite teachers, and probably some of the best classes that I've taken. And I've obviously been in school for a while. So this program has been really amazing. I am Clay. I am a second-year medical student. I'm actually doing the program, the MD-MS. So I'll be getting my MD and the MS in Bioethics and Medical Humanities. I'm currently in the clinical ethics, bioethics track of the degree. In the beginning, it's a little bit kind of like a common course. So our cohort is kind of small. It's about 5 people. And we're all incredibly different, which has been really fun. We've all learned a bunch of different things from each other, all just coming from incredibly different walks of life, different backgrounds. So something that I think is really valuable about this, and from my perspective as the MD-MS student here, is that this summer before starting medical school in this program was, I think, one of the most beneficial summers of my education, just because it gave us a pause. So much of the pre-med track or the medical education is go, 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 and there's always something to be learning. And I think that the summer to kind of sit and to understand really what I was getting myself into as a physician, as a future physician, as someone who cares about patients and wants to provide aid, to sit down and say, what is the philosophy of medicine, and what is my goal here in the first place, and what should be my goal. And then we had the opportunity to read just a bunch of different works in the doctor as author, and to be able to garner some role models, really. I think that summer we read some of the best books, like I mentioned, that I've ever read. People like Atul Gawande and Dr. Monahana Atisha, that somehow I didn't know anything about before that summer. But being exposed to those kind of minds kind of was an opportunity for me to see what my future could look like, especially I'm an LGBT person, and it's really important to me that as I go through my education, I'm picking up the resources to kind of turn around and help my community through. And I felt like adding this degree gave me a little bit more of a foundation to stand on for my community. And I always tell people, my classmates who are doing the MD and maybe not doing quite as much ethics work, I always tell them that this degree gives me the chance to really talk about the things that I want to be talking about in medicine. I feel like a lot of the times we go to the physiology and pathology heavy lectures of lung diseases and of kidney diseases, and there's a lot under the surface that we kind of want to talk about. But as medical students, I'm able to come to ethics on the afternoons and bring those feelings to the class and bring them up to people to talk about for 2.5 hours. And usually these are like very like-minded people, or, you know, people who kind of have the same questions as me. So if it's, you know, anyone in here is considering the MDMS, I think it just gives a lot of context and perspective to really what we're doing in a larger sense. And it's given me a lot of meaning in the background of my medical education, because it really can be hard. And there's so much just go, and so much science and so much to be learning, that these conversations, I think, really is kind of what grounds us all together. And I think we all find that we have quite more in common than we thought. So Dr. Holliday, you asked me to talk a little bit about the death and dying course. I don't know how I got through this whole thing without mentioning it. I think just a larger theme in ethics and medical humanities and caring for people is learning stories, and especially having the hard conversations. And I think the whole degree kind of teaches us to be brave in those conversations and to have the courageous conversation, because usually those harder conversations are the ones that our patients need and that we also need. But the death and dying course really was a lesson in looking at what's hard and not shying away from scary things. And I think that in our society, really just death is one of those big things. And for someone who's interested in ethics, I think it dips a lot into palliative care too. So that survey of death, just as, like I said, as an exercise of looking into things that we might not always want to, and just an exercise in being able to have hard conversations. So like I said, this degree for me really has just been kind of filling in all the other gaps for me. I feel like it's what's given me motivation. It's what's given me the enthusiasm and the purpose that I have to keep kind of making it through the harder days of medicine and realizing where I might be best to make an impact on some patients in the future. But I'm always here as a resource. If anyone would like my contact, please, it's free to share it with anyone. And yeah, if there's any questions, I'm here as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we have another student, Ella Marani. Would you say hi and
Yeah. So I'm Ella. I mean, Clay summed it up pretty well, so I don't know if I'll add anything original, but I am doing the MS 2-year track. So I started immediately after finishing undergrad back in 2020. And so, my favorite thing about this program has definitely been the people. As Clay mentioned, we learn so much from each other and from our classmates, as much as we do from our professors or our textbooks. And definitely have found wonderful mentors and guidance at Tulane and in this program. And that's one of the things that really attracted me to Tulane into this program, was that I knew my professors were going to have this sort of real world or academic experience that made this sort of field really appealing. So not only are we like reading essays or papers about, the proper end of medicine in the philosophy of medicine, but we also get to ask people who have studied it for years and work in that field. And so it's been just such a wonderful learning experience. And I think we're all kind of united by this, like really impassioned search for truth and for trying to figure out what are the answers to these fundamental questions. What is the role of a physician? What does it mean to be ill, or what does it mean to be sick? How does our society define certain roles in healthcare and receiving healthcare? And so it's just been such a wonderful experience overall. I think that's about all I can add. But once again, if anybody has any questions, I can drop my email in the chat. Always willing to talk about it. And also we are on Instagram and Twitter if you are social media inclined.
And Ella is our social media guru. So yes, she's the person who gives us a presence on social media, because Lord knows you don't want us old folks doing it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. We'd love to answer any questions that anybody's got about the program, how things would work. That's what we're here for. So if anybody has any questions, that you just go ahead and unmute and ask. And again, like we said, we're always available by email as well. So
I have two questions. I was wondering, as a college student, you take like 15 to 18 hours per semester. And how different is that from taking 9 hours a semester? Like, is it the same course load? That's just one of the questions that I had.
you know what? Let me let y'all answer that because my answer is totally different from the actual student perspective.
Yeah, so I can kind of speak to that. And I guess it really also depends if you're doing the dual degree or just the kind of straight MS program. But yeah, so doing the straight MS program, I found it to be manageable. Of course, you got to work around other commitments. But I also found it to be a little bit more work than I was expecting, because you're like, oh, 9 hours as opposed to 15 or 18, but it's also tons and tons of reading. Very enjoyable and informational reading, but it's a very, very reading heavy. And then it's a 2.5 hour class once a week. And so it does require a little bit of stamina to get through, but it's very, very enjoyable. And it can definitely fly by. So I found it to be very, very manageable, especially if you're only taking on the MS at that point.
Thank you. And then my other question was, it has to do with admissions. Are admissions rolling, or is there like a set date?
Best way to think of them is rolling. I mean, we sort of have deadlines where if you come in after that, it's going to be awfully difficult for us to squeeze you into the next semester. But yeah, it's rolling admissions, though we generally expect people to start either in the summer or the fall. We're happy with admitting people relatively, just as the applications come in, and then we can figure out when works best for you to enter the program.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. And we actually did remember you were having I remember you were having a problem getting something submitted, so we did sort of
I got it fixed.
Bang that out. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Yep. Does anyone else have anything they wanted to ask or offer?
Hi, I had a question just about, I don't know who's exactly the right person to answer this, but my background is undergrad in finance, and then I have a law degree. So like there's part of this that attracts me, and I work in graduate medical education now, but I guess I'm wondering if I'm looking for something that's still like combines the sciences and that lawyer side of me. Would you think this is a good program? And I guess I'm wondering, I don't know if MD's in my future, but if I'm just kind of seeing what the options are now, like thoughts. I know that's kind of pie in the sky, but.
Oh no, I mean, maybe I'll speak a little bit to that, and somebody else can jump in with other thoughts. But philosophy and law, right? These two things, we do the same kinds of thinking. In law, you start with a basis where you've got the precedent cases in law, and you've got sort of an actual written down set of laws, but you're still doing the same kind of thought process. I really find philosophy and law to be just very much partners, and so if you're looking, I want to be thinking about something in medicine, but I want to still use my brain the same kind of basic way I do in law. I think this is exactly the sort of thing that you should be thinking of. I mean, not only do we actually use laws and court cases in part of what we're thinking about, but just I think the thought process is, especially the way that I do philosophy, and I know that Valerie and I, for example, have a different education style of how we think about it, but I just think it's very much the same thing. And in addition, there's absolutely a way to be thinking about how to use a law degree in conjunction with this kind of education without there needing to be an MD or a medical degree on top of that. Lord knows I spent enough years in school to say, hey, you want another degree? Yep, I'm up for it. But you know, it isn't a requirement to make this a very useful degree in addition. I don't know if anybody else had another way of answering that. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'll just add, I mean, I agree with everything you just said, Stephen. I'll add to that, though, that there is, I think, considerable overlap in content as well. I mean, so for example, I'm teaching research ethics this semester, and a lot of the work in research ethics stems from, you know, federal regulations surrounding research, and there's a considerable amount of legal background to those questions that I think, you know, if you're interested in that aspect of the law, this would be a natural extension of that. And there, you know, there are myriad legal issues involved in clinical ethics and clinical care as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'll just
Anyone
add,
else?
like,
Yeah.
yeah, for someone with no history or no background in law, I think also it might be interesting to kind of just challenge what you've learned in law. Like, it's almost like a different kind of law, like a law that kind of originates from us as social beings. It's just another interesting way to kind of think about things and challenge our worldview. So I think it lines up quite well. And we've always enjoyed kind of bouncing back and forth between like what our law would say and what our social conscience says. And it's kind of fun.
Thank you.
Well, thanks.
I can say something to, you know, I teach, you know, the cases that I like to cover in my undergraduate classes are things like the Tuskegee case study, and I mean the Tuskegee experiment and Henrietta Lacks and things like that. And definitely with the Tuskegee study, I feel like a law background, sometimes I wish I had a little bit, you know, more to offer in terms of, you know, unpacking that case. And many others like it, you know, like Dax Cowart, for instance, and the, you know, the not wanting to be treated, those kinds of cases. I mean, they're just saturated with legal issues. So that's my experience as an instructor, working with and around law.
Thanks.
So I see that folks have put their emails in the chat, and by all means, I think those are bona fide offers. If you have questions that you wanted to ask them directly, you certainly are welcome to contact any of us. As I say, I'll go ahead and just put mine in again, because why not? And if anybody is, if anybody has further questions, by all means, feel free to contact any of us. Otherwise, thank you all so much for coming, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Bye, everybody.